Crosstalk, the unintentional transfer of signals between communication channels, a casual conversation.
Hello world, this is Videogame Crosstalk, episode 020, and those are my dogs in the background causing a ruckus. This is the monthly podcast of gamers talking about tech, science, and whatever else comes to mind. I'm your host, Anthony Rossi, and with me this week, Registered Dietitian, Jessika Leary.
Hi.
Oh, hey, Jess.
I'm just bring the party everywhere I go.
Sophie, hey, relax. So, yeah,
no jazz hands for the rest of the podcast.
All right, so you may notice a few things. First off, the dogs are going crazy. That's because I am once again in the recording studio of the dining room. We did this once before with my friend Joe when he came over because he didn't have proper recording equipment. But anyway, so I got my friend Jess over here, and she was awesome enough to swing by, and she covers a topic that we have not covered yet on the show, which is diet, nutrition stuff, kind of stuff. But first off, what you been playing?
Oh, okay. So what have I been playing?
Yeah, we're going to start with that.
So I am obsessed with Final Fantasy XIV, which is an MMO. Unfortunately, it eats my life, but I love it. I have been taking a break to play Fractured Butthole.
There we go.
So I am a South Park fan, so I did have to pick that up recently and, you know, play. I played Stick of Truth. Very big fan of Stick of Truth. So I'm playing this one. I don't feel it as much as Stick of Truth, but I'm still going through it. The jokes are pretty witty. It's pretty cool. So, you know,
yeah, and we were talking before we started recording about how I'm a filthy casual console player, and I haven't played on PC since like the 90s. You know, ever since
Same.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a filthy plebe. You know.
Yeah. Well, deal with it. So, and we were just talking about MMOs, about how you've been obsessed with Final Fantasy XIV, and it looks amazing. I just can't.
It's beautiful.
And it looks so gorgeous.
It is so gorgeous.
And I'm sure it is absolutely fantastic. But the way that Family Life is going right now, I'm not gonna flip another. Was it 14 a month?
Yes, 14 a month. I don't want to admit that I pay more because I'm a crafter in game and I need more space for inventory. So It's about 14 a month.
So we'll say 14. We'll say 14 a month.
It's about that.
I'm on the more casual side of that. I've mentioned it several times on the show, and I got a few blog posts up regarding Destiny. And we were talking earlier how I get it now. Like, this will be my 4th year playing Destiny. You know, that's Destiny 2 is out, and I've already played through the story for Curse of Osiris 2.5 times. I've gotten through it on my Warlock and my Titan. I'm working on my Hunter right now. And yeah, I get it now.
Yeah, it's hard because, new patches, new expansions, everything comes out and you're like, oh, I need to do this. Or, like me, like I craft, I gather. There's so many other things you can be doing besides just battle that it just can... I have not... Okay, so let's put it this way. You can figure out how many days and hours you've played in game.
Oh, isn't it depressing?
I know, I won't look. I don't want to know because I feel like I'll be like, oh my god, I could have learned a language.
Oh, yeah.
I could have gotten like a second master's for that much.
Right. You could have learned a 3rd language or something.
Yeah, so... But it's an ungodly amount of time.
But it is so much fun.
It is.
And I have gained memories and met friends. Over these. So, I mean, that can be its own topic of discussion.
Yes. Oh, my God.
The communities are built.
I would love to have a round table with other MMO players because I've met so many friends on the game and then met them in real life.
Did you?
Yeah. So...
I have not met anyone in real life, but I've made a few friends in the gaming community and had a couple of them on the podcast.
Yeah.
But I have not met anyone in real life just yet. But like I said, I'm learning the MMO community. I'm mostly into the single player games, which, given the recent talk from, was it EA again? Saying, yeah. Okay. still love our single player games.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I love single-player games. I grew up, obviously, playing single-player games. I started playing video
because
games.
we had no choice.
Exactly. Like, I was
early
playing...
90s or late 80s.
Oh, I had an Atari. So we're talking that wee babby.
My brother and I had a Commodore 64.
Nice.
So, yeah, we're of that age.
Yes, I just dated myself. Don't tell anyone. Too late.
Right. Oh, cool. So, yeah, I've been playing Destiny nonstop this past week because my wife has been visiting family in Wisconsin. So it's just been me and the 2 dogs for the past week. And I started to feel like guilty.
No.
Pure vacation mode. It was so, and I need to brag about this because it is so disgusting and fattening. It was so glorious. So I mentioned that
you're gonna brag to the dietitian.
I'm gonna brag to the dietitian. Because that's how we do.
Tell me your sins. Come on.
Forgive me, Jessica, for I have sinned. It was on Friday when I had the day off, and I used, we have Melio around here. It's similar to Grubhub and all the other food ordering apps. And I discovered last time I ordered that you can specify the time of day to... Yeah.
What?
Yeah, so Jessica was giving like the whole open mouth thing, like, amazing.
Yeah.
And it is. So you can specify the time of day you want your food to be delivered.
That's crazy.
So, over breakfast, I ordered Colombian for lunch and Indian for dinner, specified the times, and never put on pants for the rest of the day.
I can't even be mad about that. I can't even be mad.
That sounds great.
No, I can't tell you how many times I've done like the bachelor pad lifestyle where it's like I'm getting a pizza. Stormblood came out for Final Fantasy. It's their new expansion. Mm-hmm. This summer came out. I ordered food. I was like, everybody needs to know that for like 4 days I'm not going to be available at all. Like, don't even bother. And that's all I did. Like, that's all I did was stay in my pajamas. I'm lucky if I showered. I probably shouldn't be admitting this to the whole world. But I was like, my dedication was real. And then they had a server problem and everyone got stuck in. Oh yeah, it was a huge big name story. Yeah, so everybody was real bummed, but still, I was like, I'm just gonna go and do something else in the game then. So, yeah, pizza, beer, and video games for like 4 days straight. That's all Christmas is. That's all Christmas is for me. I have to say, the best Easter I ever spent was, this was back when I was playing WoW, and I think I ordered in Chinese food, and I spent 10 straight hours playing WoW. With like a bottle of vodka and some apple cider, and I was like, "This is great. This is all I hoped it could be and more."
So what's funny about that is, I'm an avid gamer, and I do talk about games at the office with other gamers there. And one of my coworkers, of an older generation, would joke with me and say like, "Oh, we're gonna spend like 4 hours at a time playing video games." I'm like, "Oh, you're adorable."
Yeah, you're an amateur.
you're so cute.
You're cute. Oh, you don't know about the 3-day-old sweatpants routine, do you? Oh
man. So yeah, we're both rocking the MMO type games right now. Mm-hmm. How often do you take breaks from Final Fantasy 14?
Oh, I've only taken a couple major breaks. And honestly, it was mainly school related. Mm-hmm. I find, and the hard part is I find myself sometimes taking breaks because I get wrapped up into another video game. So it's not even that I'm legitimately taking a video game break. Mm-hmm. I'm just
taking a break from that game.
Yeah. So recently playing Fractured But Whole, I've been putting a lot of time into that, and then I was putting a lot of time to Final Fantasy 15 for a little while, and then it just keeps sucking me back in though. Mm-hmm. But I think the longest I've ever gone was probably 2 months. I think 2 months was the longest I've ever gone like straight through without playing at all, without signing in or anything. To the point all my online friends thought I was dead. They were like, "Where did you go?"
Well, I've hit that point with Destiny over the years. Again, because I enjoy the single player games. So when the new Dragon Age came out, well, I'm putting Destiny aside for a bit.
Yeah.
When Fallout 4 came out, I'm putting Destiny. Okay, so we just had a little bit of some technical difficulties. My terrible beat-out laptop decided to just not record anymore. But we were talking about how you get sucked into MMOs and how you can take breaks from. So I think the last words I was saying was something about Fallout 4 and how you take breaks. And for me, it works because of my busy family life, taking care of Jacob, and being a present husband.
Yes, good for you, by the way, on that.
And I always have to bring this up. Not so much anymore, but you used to hear a lot about relationships and marriages getting busted up because the husband, yes, usually the husband, is playing way too many video games and just not paying attention to life around him. And I swear, I will not let that happen.
I've seen it happen. I mean, like, just in the sense of being, like, on an MMO, like, playing for as many years as I have. Like, it's like, someone has 3 kids and a wife, and they're somehow on the game actively, like, 12 hours a day.
That's not good.
Yeah.
That's
something obviously is going on at home.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've seen it happen.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate, but it does happen. It's addiction like anything else it can be, or an escape. So,
well, yeah, if you're escaping into your addiction, that's a rabbit hole I am not equipped to discuss.
We are not licensed psychologists.
Well, that's kind of another reason why I do this podcast and why I bring on people who know about certain things. I like to consider myself an intelligent person. Mm-hmm. However, I do realize I have limits that are actually come up pretty quickly. Once you people, I've talked with enough people and discussed enough ideas to realize how little I actually know about a lot of things. And when anyone presses you about the nuances of a given topic, you reach the end of your content knowledge very quickly. Yeah. So I like to.
The more you know.
Yeah. So the more you know. I'll talk to someone about. I've mentioned a couple times Joe Berman regarding the sustainability. Being friends with him, I've learned just a lot through just being friends with him and being interested in the field itself and the developing topics. So you read the news articles and stuff. But once you start getting into the legislation of it all, the application of it all, what the returns really are, what the costs actually are, what other considerations are brought into play, you lose or you reach the end of your knowledge very quickly.
Yeah. Actually, as a dietitian, I feel like that's part of what my job is to be able to, take the most recent evidence-based science, go over it, digest it, is it legit, is it not legit, and be able to then be a mouthpiece and interpret it for the layperson.
That is actually a great segue into it. So we're just going to go... Okay. Yeah, we're just going to go right into the dietitian. So, again, Registered Dietitian is the official title.
Yes, label. Or it can be called Registered Dietitian Nutritionist. So
okay.
Either one.
Either one?
Yeah.
You go.
It's the same.
Okay. And so... a lot of what you study and a lot of what you're doing as a dietitian, nutritionist, is explaining the hard science into layman's terms for people to understand. Is that a part of it? Is that the intro?
It's a part of it. Mm-hmm. So the degree is really expansive, and the credentials, to get the credentials, are really expansive. So pretty much what I have is a 4-year bachelor's of science. It's a lot of biochemistry, but it's also a lot of business management.
Really?
Yes. We're pretty much expected to know how to run a food service operation right off the rip.
There's a lot that goes into food service. Mm-hmm. There is a lot.
And it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be good at it when you come out, but you're expected to know it. It's on your
to
board.
At least understand.
Yeah, because it's on your board exam. You have to be able to even do weird conversions and stuff for recipes and things can be on the board exam. So knowing about disease states, knowing about community initiatives and projects and stuff like that. You really are a Jack or Jill of all trades in the nutrition field, clinical, and the industry in general. So And now our accrediting body is requiring us to have master's degrees going forward. Okay. So you have to have a 4-year degree, bachelor's in science from an accredited program. Then you have to have supervised practice. And you can't sit for your board exams without that supervised practice, and you have to pretty much not test into it, but you have to apply for it and get picked. So if you don't get picked, you're out of luck.
Wow.
That's it. You got to keep trying, and if not, then you just don't ever get your credentials. Okay. And then moving forward, dietitians will need a master's degree. I already have my master's degree.
Okay. Quick question. Yeah. We are recording this in New York State. Is that a state requirement?
No, that is a national.
That is a national requirement. Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be a national requirement. So right now, I could have gotten grandfathered in because I graduated before a certain time, but I didn't want to not have my master's. So, but going forward, they're going to require all registered dietitians to have their master's. So you're talking between the internship is a year. So you're talking about 7 years of education.
That's a lot.
Yeah. We're pretty smart folk.
You'll like to think that you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm just a wee bit of an expert on some things.
All right. So the master's degree. Is that in anything specific, or do you have an array of different programs?
There are an array of different programs. You can get your master's in a bunch of different stuff. Mine is in applied nutrition. Okay. So that's just a more general master's, but a lot of also communications and things like that, and community-based work. So, because I really enjoy the communications portion of dietetics. I think that's an area where we're lacking, getting the message to the people. Okay. So, because we're competing against huge corporations, we're competing against all of this advertising and all this other stuff.
You're competing against mommy blogs.
Yes. Yes, we're competing against he who shall not be named, Dr. Oz. Things like that people think are credible sources when they're not. They're just advertisements glossed over in a different way. So, getting something that is appealing to people and is the right information is an increasingly difficult thing, especially with the oversaturation of communication we have nowadays. So I wanted to go for a program that had a little bit more of a focus on that.
And that's one of the crazy things about the internet. And I'm already getting into the political session. This is a non-political podcast.
Non-political. I just don't like Dr. Oz. I'm sorry.
It's a non-political podcast. But I was going to get into the news outlets that can be found through social media outlet of choice. I've been blogging for years across various platforms with different groups.
And let me preface that not all mommy blogs are bad. Please don't come at me, mommy blogs. Please.
But there's a difference. And just know what your source is. So I've been blogging for years. Again, I like to think of myself as intelligent. Do not use any of my articles as a reference.
No.
Don't. Anything that ends... Okay, so I paid for the .com. But if you see something that ends in Blogspot or WordPress.com, that means that person has a free website, but they still need to have that domain name in their address.
Yeah.
So, and if that is there... Basically, the only thing that's required to get that content published is to click the publish button on your screen. There are no editors. There is no oversight. There is no verification. There is no fact checking. I can type whatever blibbity blah I want, hit publish now, and it's on the internet. So remember that. Because I've had some people get into discussions and arguments with me. Well, this article right here says this, and I'm looking at the address, and it straight up says WordPress.com at the end of it. Yeah. I'm I don't know how to tell you that's a crap source without being really insulting.
I think that's important too is, some of the things that I've gone over with students and stuff, when I've helped out with any research or anything, is just how to be literate. How to be information literate, which I find that a lot of people don't know how to navigate things like that. So it's okay, is this article legitimate? Is it bias? Is this, actual legit science? Because you might see something and it might not be significant at all. It doesn't just it just doesn't mean anything. So, what are credible sources? So it's really difficult. And actually, that would be something I'd be interested in doing again, is doing an information literacy class for like the general public and stuff. So, okay. But yeah, I think it's important. Right there. Yeah, it's important to navigate that stuff, because a lot of people don't realize that maybe where they're getting their information from is complete bunk.
I've even one unfortunate friend of mine, they had tried posting some stupid meme, and it had a statistic on it, which you look at it and you raise an eyebrow, and it had a cited source at the bottom of the meme. So I'm like, you know what? Let's go to that location. In that article, it actually has a caveat that states the exact opposite of what the meme stated. Yeah. I'm like, hate to break it to you, bro.
It's like, even if something has sources, that doesn't necessarily mean that the sources are good. You actually kind of have to take that extra second to go back to the sources and be able to tell if it's good or not. And that's not always an easy thing to do.
One more quick tip about verifying your information. If the website keeps cycling you through other articles on the website itself and never going back to an actual source document.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm currently getting loved on by some dogs.
Oh, I mentioned Kinsey is aggressively affectionate, and she will just she's
just backing that thing right up right now. She's like, hi.
One of these days, I'll be on like a Skype podcast or something, and I'm just going to say, hold on, you need to give me a second, and you're just going to see a doggo face come up on me.
They're your official mascots.
They are lovely. Yeah. And they are very loving.
Mm-hmm. I like them. They're like, we believe in good science. So.
In this house, they're going to believe in good science. In this house, the nerd is strong in this household.
I appreciate that. Very much so.
So, what can you tell me about your internship?
Okay, so my internship, you have to get matched to an internship. So you have to apply to a bunch of different programs, and then it goes through and it ranks you. It's a complicated process. It's a pain, so I won't go into that too much. But I was able to get into the program.
All right, so we're back again. And I actually went through and installed the recording software onto the other laptop.
I break everything. This is why I can't have nice things. It's my fault.
Oh my goodness. All right, so this will be fun editing. Hopefully we get through it without any more interruptions. Otherwise, just going to be a whole bunch of play breaks in the middle of this, and I'm sorry.
I can sing songs. I'll sing songs. We'll put some in the middle. It'll be fine.
Sure. All right, so we left off, and I had asked about the internship. So let's...
Yes.
Okay.
So what the internship is, it's a matched program. You have to apply to a bunch of different programs, and then you get picked. It's super complicated, so I'm not going to get into that too much. But the internships themselves have to cover a base amount of information. Okay. It's supervised practice, so you have to do it underneath another registered dietitian. But like different programs can have different concentrations. So like one program could be focused on food service, another one could be focused on clinical, like hospital work and things like that. So, but they rotate you through the general information. So like for mine, I had to do work at a food service work, so I did work in a school district. And then like long-term care facility I worked in like a holistic doctor's office. I worked in a local hospital. Like the biggest chunks were food service and clinical, so the hospital and the school, and then other outpatient stuff. Like I worked for the Office of the Aging, so I worked for the state for a while. My particular internship was not paid, which is typical, and it's at least 40 hours a week. So it's a lot of work, and so by the end of it, you're expected to have a certain skill set and knowledge base and be able to sit for your board exams. And that's the only way you can sit for your board exams if you've had that supervised practice. So yeah, it's a lot of work, but it really is, I think, what makes the difference between just having the degree and being able to go out and do your job really well is because that kind of hands-on work is invaluable.
When internships are done right,
yes,
they're awesome.
Yes,
they are so amazing. At a previous job, I had an internship, but I was basically their part-time help. I didn't have any specific project to work on. They're just like, we need help, and this is for a larger company. So we just need an extra set of hands doing production work. So it wasn't like I'm going to do this other project. I'm not really I wasn't really guided in anything.
Yeah, so it's not you're like learning so much as much just like...
Here we go.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see where that would be super helpful.
But at the same time, later on in my career at that company, I'm now been full-time for years. And we would have other interns come in and they would do like... I hate to diminish it and say it's an intern fest, but at the end of the summer, all the interns have basically poster sessions in this one conference room, and they go over the projects that they worked on. And as valuable as that information is, and the research that they did for the company, it wasn't really what you would be doing on a day-to-day basis in that department.
Okay.
So I'm like torn in a way. Like,
yeah.
What would be better? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I know for our internships, like, they are guided by our accredited body, so there are certain standards that they have to live up to. But, you know, and it is, like, it's hands-on, it's research, there's a whole slew of different things you have to do. So I feel like it is valuable. I hate using the word internship because I feel like internship has a certain connotation to it. Right. Whereas when I tell people, I was like... You know, and I'm not trying to diminish what doctors do, but I'm like, it's almost like a residency. Like, you're learning and you're researching, and you're doing all this, but you're also like going in and legitimately taking care of patients. You're doing patient care. You're doing the job of what that registered dietitian would do, just under supervision, and also having to do all these 7,000 other things. So,
because ain't no trial like trial by fire.
Exactly. Yeah, going into the first patient's room, being like, oh god, I know what I'm doing. Do I know what I'm doing?
Oh man,
it's fun times.
So, man, you're just all over the place. I thought I'd have questions as we go through, but like I don't even know what direction to go in at this point.
We really are like Jacks and Jills of all trades. I don't know if that's going to make it into the final cut because I mentioned that before, but we really do have so much knowledge under our belts. Like, we are expected to be able to do so much once we're done.
So you mentioned a school program. Okay, so and that's one of the places that you interned at. Okay,
yeah.
Because I'm trying to remember. Did she say that she interned at a school, or was that just one of the places that you could be possibly placed?
No, I actually did do. I was like the head of a food service department. Okay. I worked with the head of the food service department, who was a registered dietitian. Okay,
so what did that entail?
A lot, actually, because there's a lot of mandates that have come down from the federal government on the school lunch program. So a lot of it was the school breakfast and lunch program, and bringing the school lunch program up to speed with the mandates, because, you know, less sodium, having certain... Hi, doggo.
Doggos have no concept.
No personal space. It's cool. I like it.
Okay.
So, what was I saying? So you know, doing that and making sure that we were up to speed for the mandates for the Healthy Hunger Free Kids Act. So it was actually a really amazing thing to work under a dietitian in that capacity, because there's so much that goes into the program that people don't realize. I have such a bigger respect for people who are working as, you know, food service directors in schools. It's a really hard job, and it's really hard to make parents and kids happy with the little amount of resources that they get. So, I mean, and just like, we were getting audited by the state, which is a normal thing. It's not like, oh, this is bad. It's just they come in to make sure you're doing what you're doing.
It's audit time, basically.
Yeah. So part of what I did was, you know, I have food service background as well, just experience, and so I helped create like new standard operating procedures and stuff like that, just to make sure that all of our staff were trained and up to date on what they can and cannot do, what they can serve the kids, what they can't serve the kids, how much. So it's a lot that goes into it, and that was That was like 3 months of the program.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you spent quite a...
Yeah. I ended up having 1,400 hours of supervised practice. So yeah, the program itself is long. Okay. So.
Are you allowed to go into any specifics?
Yeah. I mean, what kind of specifics are you looking for?
At this point, anything. Because I'm assuming that we've moved past our days of being in school, of the lunch lady land.
Yeah. So... I mean, like, it's different. You know, it's I do feel like part of but the mandates are changing too. So, you know, and it's interesting to see the pushback from parents and from students on some of the mandates, because it's like, you can't have soda and vending machines anymore. And
really?
Then they were like, oh, you can't have, and then they were like, well, you can have beverages that have artificial sweeteners in them. Then you couldn't have that anymore. So getting stricter and stricter and stricter, and then watching how the food industry is struggling to keep up with those guidelines. Like, you know, everything has to be whole wheat. Everything has to be only this amount of sodium. There has to be this much protein in every meal. So it was really interesting to see like how the creativity of the food service director would come into play, but also the struggles that they would have because the food service industry hadn't caught up to the regulations. So, you know, you have these products that are like, I by law can't serve these to the kids. Like, I can't serve regular chicken nuggets to the kids anymore because of the breading. Like, you know, things like that.
You just can't do this.
Yeah, exactly.
This isn't an option. This isn't a preference. I can't do this.
Yeah, exactly. So, and some of the regulations have been laxed a little bit, but it's difficult. It is difficult to sit down and you know what? I should preface, or I should back up and say, it can be easy if you don't care about what the kids, if the kids like it or not. But that's going to cut into your bottom line. If the kids aren't buying food, you know, you're wasting time, you're wasting money. That's profit. But if you do care and you want to actually, you know, sell your product, which is the lunch, you have to be creative. You have to have some culinary, you know, foresight.
Because right now I'm just thinking, I still consider myself a new father. Jacob is 14 months at this point. He really isn't a picky eater. And by the way, if you go to my Twitter account and some of the Instagram posts, you can see how excited Jacob gets when we give him food.
Those are my favorite videos. Oh my God, I love them so much. I think I told your wife that I really want to, I might have missed the boat on this, but I want to see him eat pickles so badly. I can't wait. Right. Yes. I mean, they're super high in sodium, but that the faces babies make when they first have that much vinegar is so magical. I want to be, and he's so expressive already that I want to be a part of that moment. I want to be like, yes. That's so weird. I'm such a weirdo. But anyways,
it's fine.
Moving on.
So still consider myself a new father, and I see how my friends and family have dealt with a picky eater for a child. I don't know where to start trying to serve a lunch in the least bit of standardization that will appeal to however many 100 kids, depending on school district.
Well, that's part of the problem, actually, is that there's nothing there's mandate saying that you have to give the kids this many vegetables, you know, and there's nothing saying that the kids have to eat them. So food waste is a huge problem in the school system now. Because it's like, okay, well, you know, I gave the kid an apple because I have to, by the mandates, give them this much fruit. The kid just turns around and just throws it in the garbage. Yeah. That was actually one of the projects I did, you know, doing certain research stuff, was just seeing how much food waste was produced with the new mandates. And it was significant. It was a lot.
I believe
it's hard.
Yeah, I remember, and I'm like reaching way back in my memory right now. Like, memories are surfacing again. And I'm going to apologize for my voice and my sniffling and coughing. I think I have a cold coming on. You know,
oh, no!
Just in time for the holidays!
Oh, no, and he got me here and he's going to get me sick. What a jerk. No, I'm kidding.
I know. But I'm like reaching back in my memory and thinking how parents would give their kid money for lunch, the proverbial lunch money, and they would just go and get, like, to the snack bar. Or whatever, and get, like, a bag of chips and a Nutty Buddy for lunch.
Yeah, I mean, there's still, like, some ability to do that. There's still snack bars, but even the snack bars have regulations.
Okay.
Like, you know, like, there can only be so much sugar. There can only be, like, it has to be, like, whole wheat, like, you know, graham crackers, you know, things like that. So it's trying to be more healthy, but I mean, it's still there. But there, it's highly regulated, like super regulated. But
I meant that in like the context of you have these options. You purchase the standard school lunch, whatever that may be. You have the protein, the vegetables, the whatever.
Yeah,
that we can't force feed kids.
Yeah,
that's frowned upon.
Yeah, so, it's not foie gras here.
Yeah, we're not force feeding children at this point. I really hope that doesn't get allowed, but that's a whole other.
It's a whole other podcast.
That's not for this podcast. So I can only imagine like food waste.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's hard. That's what, like I said before, I give food service directors who are actually trying a lot of credit, because it is a tough and thankless job. There's so many times, you know, this is anecdotal evidence, but there's so many times just working in, you know, in the schools and working a lot with the elementary kids where you'd have parents be like complaining about the school lunch, but then they're coming in with, you know, like goldfish crackers and just junk. And it's like, our lunch is better than what you're providing your kids. So, nutritionally at least. So, you know, what are we supposed to do at that point? You know, we cannot force them to eat anything, like you said, but, you know, it doesn't necessarily, people's conception of what's healthy and what's not sometimes is not necessarily correct. And it's just it's a hard line to toe no matter what. And it's always hard to tell a parent. No parent wants to hear you're not doing a good job at feeding your child.
Oh no.
So I mean,
I can't.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, you know, you have to have a tact and a delicacy to what you're doing. But at the end of the day, no matter what, you know, school districts have to follow these mandates. Period. Or they don't get reimbursed for the food that they served by the government. They don't get reimbursed for the lunches, and without the money, there's no food.
Right, and that's another huge.
That's
problem.
also a whole nother podcast. We could go on and on and on about the school lunch program. I mean, literally, I could do hours on that. But
all right, so outside of that, what other like career paths are there for dietitian, nutritionist?
Oh my goodness, there's a million, and that's. I'll try and narrow some of it down.
Let's go for one that you'd be more familiar with.
Clinical dietitians. They're the dietitians that work in the hospital. So say you have some kind of issue with either like diabetes or, you know, a heart condition or kidney failure or
that's got to be complicated.
Yes.
To work with. And in a hospital, I'm thinking of other health concerns, and just besides the allergies, because now we're dealing with the broad, open, general public.
Yeah.
The wide array of crazy allergies, like beyond just your...
And we're not even talking about, like, the food being served, the allergies for that. We're talking about, like... All right, so a guy comes in with congestive heart failure and maybe some other issues. Like, we need to be able to know, like, what does this person need? Do they have any comorbidities, like anything else going wrong with them?
Okay, I was going to say...
That's what I say, comorbidities is something else going wrong.
Word. What was that?
You know, so, and I think that's one thing that people don't realize about registered dietitians is, like, so you could go to the doctor and get a whole bunch of blood work done and give it to me, and I can tell you what's wrong with you. So... Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I know based on that lab work, generally what's going on in your body. So it's like a lot of times, like, diabetics will be like, no, I've been really good. And I'll be like, your A1C tells me otherwise. So clinical dietitian is another really big, path for dietitians. I mean, but there's like sports nutrition, there's food service, like I mentioned, there's corporate dietitians who help make menus for, you know, major companies and stuff. Like, you know, pretty much any major industry, like food service, like in your hospital, it's probably going to be a couple major corporations, Cisco, things like that, Aramark. They have a dietitian on staff doing stuff for them. So, you know, and then there's private practice dietitians. There's a whole slew of stuff you can do. There's community dietitians. They're working at WIC and stuff like that. You know, there's a lot. There's ones that work for the government. There's ones that work for the state. So, really, you can do any of that coming out of school.
Wow.
Yeah.
With all sorts of different avenues.
That's one of the appealing things about it, is that it could be overwhelming if you don't know what you want to do. But you can change careers within your career.
Okay.
Like, you can be a dietitian and be like, I'm going to work for 10 years in food service. Maybe then I'll work in clinical if I want to, or maybe I'll go and do community stuff. Like, that's one of the nice things about it. Is like, you know, as long as you're up to date and current on what's going on in that field, that part of the field, it's easy to just transition.
So what about, you've mentioned community a few times. So tell me about that a little bit.
Community can be a whole slew of different things. So it can be, you know, working with the government, putting initiatives together. It can be running programs. So things like outreach programs. It can be, you know, working with WIC. It can be working with, working on, you know, building any initiatives, things like that. I'm having a hard time thinking of examples right off the top of my head.
Real quick, if you're not familiar with WIC, what is WIC?
Oh, WIC it's a program. It's women, infants, and children. So it's like, you know, when you go to the grocery store and you see someone like using, you know, a card to buy like cereal or milk or something, it's an assistance program.
Okay. Is that
help
specifically for single mothers?
It is for income levels.
Okay.
Income levels and stuff like that. So it is not what we would call an entitlement program, where you have to apply for it. Like, you don't automatically get WIC. So it is meant to assist new mothers in being able to provide nutritious food for themselves and for their children, because feeding themselves is just as important as feeding the babies. You know, especially while they're pregnant, at risk pregnancy and stuff like that. You know, lower income. Things like that. So and it provides nutrition education as well in office.
Nice.
So
we're fortunate enough to be well enough off where we wouldn't require that.
Yeah.
But again, it's when you bring a child into it, and I'm probably super hypersensitive to all of this just because, again, new dad. So I'm like, oh my god, children.
The babies.
Yeah, babies. A lot happens in that first year, and the best thing you can do, hands down, is breastfeed. If that's not possible, or there are complications, it happens, but that means that, you know, the baby now needs very specialized nutrition. Or if you are fortunate enough to be breastfeeding, you have to understand that everything that you're putting into your body is going to go into the baby's body.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to breastfeed. There are breastfeeding initiatives now in hospitals to try and get mothers to breastfeed and to breastfeed longer. There are tons of scientific studies that show that there are benefits to breastfeeding. There's cost analysis benefits to breastfeeding. But at the same token, you know, I personally never try and shame a mother for not breastfeeding, because sometimes it's not possible. Sometimes a baby doesn't take to it, or they have certain issues with breastfeeding, and, you know, I try and make sure that there's at least the baby is getting the proper nutrition in some way, even if it's with supplementation or full formula feeds. It's just making sure that the baby and the mother are healthy. So the mother could not be producing enough milk. Exactly.
That's one of many things.
And it's sad because you do hear a lot of mothers who feel insanely guilty because they can't breastfeed, and, you know, just making sure that, you know, as long as the baby and the mother are healthy, you know, is there an ideal situation?
Of course.
Yes. But, you know, at the end of the day, is the baby, you know, being fed? Are there so many wet diapers? You know, things like that. So, you know, making sure that everyone is healthy and good is the best thing possible.
As long as baby's healthy, as long as mommy's healthy, Screw the dad. No one cares.
I was just going to make that joke. Dads are important.
No,
dads are important.
We are overlooked. I'm not going to get into it. But
no, dads are important.
Dads are important too. Yes.
Know.
And actually, New York State is going to be mandating family leave for.
I just saw that. I got something in the mail about it, and I was
just missed it.
I was like, oh, what? That's pretty cool. So
it was funny. I just had Lee Mercut on, the creator and designer behind Gamerborn Clothing, which totally checked that out.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And
as I'm wearing my Zelda shirt today.
Yes, we have a Link shirt.
Yeah, it's
from Legend of Zelda. Yes, it is the
trying to pull my cred out like I ain't got street cred.
it is the black T-shirt. It is Link 8-bit version, but he is created with the 8-bit environments.
This might be a Loot Crate shirt. I'm not positive. I don't remember where I got this from, but yeah, it's a pretty dope shirt. I love this shirt. So I thought it was appropriate for today.
And I just got completely derailed.
We were talking about family leave.
Okay, yeah. So Lee Mercut, he is actually in the UK. And he started Gamerborn Clothing because he wanted a photo shoot with his son, but there wasn't enough gamer-inspired baby clothes.
Aww.
So he has a background in graphic design. So he just designed. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, it's something I just did on my paternity leave. And I'm like, oh, you're in the UK.
Shipped to the United States.
He does? Oh,
yeah, exactly.
Actually, this shirt is Gamerborn.
I like that shirt. It looks nice. I was like, I like that shirt.
This is Gamerborn clothing.
Might be a little bit late for the holidays for that, but I'll have to check it out because I'm all about that life. So.
Yeah, so New York State, we're finally getting paternity leave.
Woohoo! Yeah. That's a good thing.
Good stuff. All right, so we're going to get into some tech and science news. Got a couple articles here. First one is viewing climate change through VR.
Did you get a chance to actually watch the video?
I watched a couple different videos. Unfortunately, one of the websites, it wasn't working properly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't have a VR device, so I just watched it, which looks really weird when you just watch something without VR. But I did it. I watched it.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, my browser wasn't giving me the proper video on one of the things. That was really annoying.
Yeah.
But so go ahead. You got some?
No, I was just like, I don't know what. I mean, I don't know. Did you watch so the one I watched was 7 minutes long,
okay.
and it was the Fiji village. And
yes.
I was just it was so sad. I felt so sad. I was like, this is the point. Yes, put a human face to things and make people feel bad.
And I was going to the perfect follow-up because I've read some other articles about hi dogs, hi puppies. There's other projects going on as far as they did experiments with being an innocent bystander. And you witness a crime,
mm-hmm.
and it's all in VR, and they witness people's reactions to it, and it was much more emotional for people.
Yeah.
So by adding the VR aspect, and rather than passively absorbing or passively consuming the video from from a stationary video screen, mm-hmm. the camera angles would be moving and stuff, but it's still a stationary viewing. Going into the VR perspective and having the view move with you.
I can totally see that.
Yeah.
I can totally see how it taps into a different part of our psychology. Yeah. Actually, I am going to lose some street cred right now.
Right.
I only very recently experienced virtual reality for the first time. And I was amazed by how much so one of the things I did was I was just outside and, it's winter here in New York, mm-hmm. so it's gray and cold and
dreary and
it's going to be cold, it's going to be gray, and it's going to last you the rest of your life.
Right.
Groundhog's Day reference there. So, and it was sunshine, and it was summertime, and I was like, I kind of feel like my mood is lifting. What is this? This is weird. And I was like, this is amazing. I want to sit in fake sunshine every day. I was like, this is great. So I can see how it would just at least just experiencing myself that way, I can see how it would totally change the psychology of how you perceive, suffering or, disaster or tragedy or anything like that. Just actually feeling like you're a part of it.
Yeah.
Being to empathize. It's an empathy mechanism. So
definitely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think also it helps that rather than seeing like a side-by-side comparison or maybe glamour shot isn't the right word, but the professionally done photo shoot or video perspective to get maximum effect. So, but we subconsciously kind of know that when we see these images or videos that they're going for a maximum emotional effect. So that, to me, it kind of dulls it because I'm cynical. But it is what it is. When you go into the VR, now it's not that you may not be getting the glamour shots, but you're getting the realism of it all because it's right in front of you now.
Yeah, exactly.
It is what it is. Like these aren't glamour shots. This is what it's looking like at this time. There's some difference between the 2D aspect versus the 3D aspect that allows you, I think personally allows you to attach so much more feeling and emotion to it. Right. That, our senses get tricked into thinking that this is really happening. So, and emotions are so powerful and so personal that if you can tap into that, and I mean, I could see how some people might think that's unethical, but if you can tap into that feeling to get someone to go, oh, well, maybe this does matter beyond myself, because it feels like it's happening to me. How that can actually... You get a real, Matrix thing going on. What is real?
Yes,
is that air you're breathing real?
Yeah, exactly. But, the ethics of it and everything. But I don't necessarily think that it's a bad thing to make people care about climate change.
Again, this is a non-political podcast.
Non-political. I'm just saying climate change, it's there.
So we have two websites here. First one is actually a press release from worldbank.org. And it talks about Fiji to use virtual reality to highlight the impact of climate change and to global decision makers. And we have another one here. These will both be in the show notes. VRbeforeitstoolate.org. So both of these sites and another YouTube video will show you, what's going on. The
VR, that's such a good name for it. VR before it's too late. Yep. That's crazy. Yeah. I just clicked on I didn't read it that. Like, I didn't realize at first. I was like,
initiative.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some heavy stuff.
It is. It's a lot of stuff going on with that. All right. And the other science tech article you actually sent to me.
Yes.
So I'm going to let you take the lead on this. And it is Akili, I'm going to assume. It's Akili. Akili achieves primary efficacy endpoint in pediatric ADHD pivotal trial.
That's a mouthful.
That was a lot of legal speak right there.
Pretty much what that means is just that they used video games to change puppers. To change puppers. No, that's not what it did at all. But using video games to just try and see if they could change outcomes for children with ADHD. And I thought that was interesting based on what you do, like what you talk about, like in video games, gaming, in your podcast. And also, I am not an expert in ADHD, but, just in biochemistry and stuff like that, just seeing that kind of thing. So pretty much what they did is they had a tablet with a video game on it, a storytelling video game that gave rewards. It had a reward system on it. They had a control trial, control group, which means kids that didn't receive the same exact treatment versus the kids who did.
Because double blind is important.
Double blind is so important. Double blind is your friend. So, and double blind is bae.
Yes, it is. And if you don't know what we're talking about in regards to double blind, I'll put a link describing that. Probably a Wikipedia article will be sufficient for this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Double blind is very important in research.
And this was a double blind study, I believe, if I remember correctly. But what they did is they had algorithms in the video game that kind of tuned the video game to the child's needs and to their attention span, and they were able to get statistically significant results that showed that there was improvement in attention span and inhibition control. So that's actually pretty awesome, because not only that, okay, so statistically significant just means like, are your results, like, do your results mean anything? Are they like, is there like a relationship?
Just because there's a bump in a few of the test subjects, is that within the normal ranges? Exactly. Or is it, this is when we get into the bell curve.
Yes,
and
the bell curve.
Deviation.
Yep, exactly. That's the other thing that we have to do a lot of as dietitians, is learn a lot about statistics. But, you know, so they were able to see some changes in the children. And so what does this mean, not just for kids with ADHD, but just for going forward, like using video games as a tool to, you know, change outcomes. One of the things I was really interested in since I did communications for my master's, was, can we use video games and reward systems? Because I am a huge RPG fan. That's always been my favorite type of video game.
Same here. There was a recent announcement that Final Fantasy is now 30.
Yes! I actually teared up a little bit when I watched the video, like the anniversary video, and I was like, because Final Fantasy is my fandom.
Yes.
Like, that's my game. So, through and through.
Story time. Your recent, was it birthday?
Yes. Oh, no. It wasn't my birthday, but we threw a surprise birthday for my friend.
Okay.
But it was Final Fantasy 14 themed. So it was pretty awesome. And I created like tonberries and stuff. Like, I made them for like
and
from
we definitely
hand.
had the health potion and mana potion for drinks.
Yes. It was if you were a nerd, a video game nerd, it was a pretty banging party. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, I did good. Look at this. This looks great.
So when I saw that Final Fantasy was 30, I'm like, wow, I've been playing this since the original Nintendo.
Yeah. That's the other thought I had. I was like, I'm old. So, I mean, one of the things that I thought about when I was doing my master's program is like, could we use like reward systems, video game reward systems, to get kids to try different foods, like fruits, try different fruits and vegetables, like try different things. I'm not going to talk about it too much, because I actually might flesh out this idea for a legit venture at some point in time. But just thinking in those terms of like, how can we target, you know, kids who like video games to do more things that are good for them.
A few years back when I was taking some MBA courses, a big buzzword was the gamification of things. Mm-hmm. And that is like leveraging the mechanics, the reward mechanics in video games into other settings, be it professional or otherwise. Yep. And it's, if you don't know how those mechanics work thoroughly, that will fail so quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, you really have to know your target audience, like what they want, what they're looking for, what they expect to get. So, yeah, it's very interesting.
The quick rewards versus the long grind versus is it impactful enough to go for that stretch goal?
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into it.
And not every gamer is the same. Like, mm-hmm. I'm an RPG player. I'm a grinder. Like, mm-hmm. I will grind till the cows come home, whereas, like, I have other people in my life who are like, how can you do this? Like, this is so boring. And I'm like, but I'm gonna have this thing in, like, a week. It's gonna be great. And I feel like I do that with my life too. Like, I'm like long-term reward person, you know, versus short-term reward person. So yeah, I mean, not every gamer is the same.
There's a lot that goes into trying to gamify, if that's the word that they were using a few years back. A lot goes into it.
I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed to gamifying things if it's done right.
Do it, bang it out.
Yeah.
But don't expect it to fail repeatedly.
There's actually, I didn't realize this at my gym. There's it's a bike. This could have been out for years and I just never realized it. But there's a bike that's like a video game. Like, you actually sit and you like pedal and you chase after stuff.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, and I'm like, oh, how did I not know about this? This is like my perfect exercise. Like, it combines two things one thing that I need and one thing that I love. So let's do this.
Well, that and just being on a bike and or treadmill is just Like when I was running a lot.
Monotonous.
Oh, and my friends who run marathons, they will talk about how difficult it is running on a treadmill just because your brain just turns to mush.
Yeah, it's like, what is it when you're driving like a long distance and you just start to zone out?
Oh, I don't know what it's called, but it's definitely
like road hypnotism or something.
Something like
it's
that.
Like you just kind of shut down and you just,
Yeah, and if you don't believe me, think about the next time you finally get to wherever it is you're going and try to remember the drive that you just did.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah, especially if it's a long drive, like a long straight drive. Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's kind of a cool thing. Like I'm all about putting video games in to certain stuff. Yeah. So
and the fact that they're getting significant results out of this.
Yes. So I mean, and if the game is smart enough to be able to, transition itself into like different, like using the algorithms that it used to be able to like tailor itself to be like, okay, well, I need to be focusing more on this part or this part for the patient. That's crazy. That's smart technology right there. That's awesome. We live in a crazy, beautiful, wonderful age of technology that's amazing and terrifying.
It's terrifying at the same time. I can't remember who I was talking to, but they were talking about something with the Internet of Things. And someone was able to exploit a security loophole because they were able to harness, I don't know if it was the processing power or the access points of like the refrigerator and toaster and a bunch of other Internet of Things like appliances because they have like no security on them.
Yeah.
And I remember when this was
That's like the Alexa. Like, I don't want to talk crap about any brand, but every once in a while I have to remember that. I'm like, I'm being recorded.
Yeah.
I'm cool with it, though, because I can just tell it to play me something. But,
But, like, when the Internet of Things was, like, beginning to gain traction in, like, the public eye was the same time that Watch Dogs was getting released. And I'm like, there's a game that tells you everything that is bad with this idea.
I mean, it's a weird, like, I'm not even gonna lie, like, I have this weird irrational fear of certain, like, AI stuff, like Big Dog and things like that. Like, my friend...
Big Dog is coming to get you.
Like, I like, my friend would put on this, and because he's very into technology, he's a programmer, and he would be like, look at this thing, and I'm like, oh, no. Kill it with fire. I don't want anything to do with it. It freaks me out for some reason.
Is it Boston Dynamics?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
Boston Dynamics, man.
So
it's my personal hell.
If you're not familiar with them, they've been putting out videos for over a decade. Big Dog has been in development and refinement for well over 10 years.
Pretty much. And what Big Dog is it's an AI, but it's in a machine that looks like a weird mechanical dog thing.
Yeah, it's a giant dog. And by giant, we mean like you could ride it like a horse, but it's got this stance more canine than...
Yeah, it's just... uncomfortable for me.
But it's got the movement and control to the point where even like 10 years ago, they were having videos where one of the developers would just go up and kick the thing, and it would stagger on this like sheet of ice in like some back alley of Boston. It would slip, slide, and regain traction.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Well, they have the one that's like the upright, more human version of whatever AI it is. Right. And there's this video of this guy with a hockey stick, like hitting a package out of its hand and like sliding the package away from the thing while it's trying to pick it up. And my friend goes, and this is the moment where they learn to hate us. This is the moment where this is the beginning, like, consciousness where it's like, humans are gonna be dead. Yep. It's terrifying. Yep. Oh, and cool, but terrifying.
So, yeah, bringing it back to...
Sorry, I went off on a tangent there.
So it's great that we're able to use video games in this way. And one last note before we move on a little bit more is I'll try to find the TED Talk. Now, I've used TED Talks a few times on this podcast because they're amazing presentations that are able to take really high-level stuff and convey it
and condense it.
Condense it into 10, 12-minute speeches and presentations. A neuroscientist was doing some research about first-person shooters and their potential benefits. And what's great about this video, and I'll throw it in the show notes, is that she starts it off with, no, we are not saying play video games for 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
We're past that.
Yeah.
Like, that's obviously not good for all sorts of reasons. She referred to that as bar talk.
Yeah.
Like, yes, we know if you are exposed to violent imagery nonstop, your brain's going to be affected. We know if you sit sedentary for extended periods of time, you're going to be affected. We know.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're good here. But they did the research, and there were so many, I would call them unexpected benefits, where vision actually increased.
Coordination increases.
The vision increase as far as vision just in general, and color differentiation.
Yeah.
Also tracking multiple objects at the same time.
Multitasking things, yeah.
Right. So there a bunch of different.
I would love to see that, because I've heard some of that study before, but I haven't seen the TED Talk. So if you could find that, I would love to.
I'll throw that in the show notes.
Yeah, that would be awesome. But I will say that the one thing with the ADH thing is that it's still a primary study, so it still does need to be peer reviewed. I feel like I have to say that.
Yes.
It's a sort of small sample size. It was a little bit under 400, but it's still pretty cool for what it is, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about it.
Alright, quick Audible interlude. For you, the listeners of the Video Game Crosstalk podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. All you have to do is go to audibletrial.com/VGXTpod and sign up for your free trial and download one of over 180,000 titles, such as Dune by Frank Herbert. Do it. I was totally late to the game on this book. I just recently read it, like, within the past year.
Really?
Yeah, I know. And I've said this before to so many friends. I was in, like, geek denial for many years.
About Dune?
About being a geek.
Oh, okay. Oh.
So,
I just can't imagine that. I can't imagine that.
It is absolutely hysterical for people who know me now that I've, like, fully embraced it all. But Dune is your amazing. Oh yeah, I accept it all, and it's so wonderful. Dune, it's got a little sci-fi. It's got some mysticism.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's got some philosophy thrown in there. I do love some philosophy in my fiction.
Get that spice.
Yes. If you've ever seen one of your nerd friends throw up the "he who controls the pumpkin spice controls the..."
Yes. It's funny, actually. One of my favorite bands / friends band is named Shai Hulud.
Oh, nice.
So everyone's like, "Oh, is Dune?" And I'm like, "Well, no, they're just really big nerds, like really big nerds." So they decided to name their band Shai Hulud. So.
Okay. All right. So again, that is audibletrial.com/VGXTpod for your free audiobook.
Go get a book.
All right. Moving on to some gaming and geekery. First up, all the Mega Man X games are coming to modern console. Yay?
Well, okay, so I like the idea of, I still have all my old consoles.
Okay.
So I'm one of those people. I will say that it doesn't hurt knowing someone who has a store that specializes in classic gaming. Be your friend and be like, it's like being a drug dealer to me. I'm like, oh, give me more. So, but
quick shout out for the local.
Oh yeah, Forgotten Freshness in Mechanicville. Frank is awesome. He will do you right. Yes,
right.
I didn't know if I was allowed to do that.
We give him a quick shout out.
So Frank is the man. Frank is super great. I tell everybody to go to Frank. He's good people, and his shop is like legit nice. Like he has good product. So
yeah.
look at me. I'm like, he's got good product.
Yeah, careful. Games. You got the games. Okay.
All the games. And he does Magic the Gathering, so which is another bonus plus. But I have all my old consoles, so I'm like, it's cool that it's coming because it's like it's just more convenient. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I'm gonna catch it for this, but
here we go.
core series. I care more about that.
Oh, do you?
A little bit.
Okay.
I like the old school Mega Mans. Like if I had a choice, like I would play that.
Okay.
And I know I'm gonna catch it for saying that, or maybe not. But I do. I really enjoy like the old. I still play the old stuff. So
Do you?
yeah,
All right.
yeah. Every once in a while, when I'm like, I just need to just get really angry. I'm gonna go play old Mega Man.
So many of the old games. I've watched several of like teens react to, and I think Mega Man was one of them.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Was this an end boss?" I'm like, "Nah, dude, you just started the level."
Yeah. It's like the Dark Souls of like olden days.
Except everything was Dark Souls.
Yeah, exactly. Which I love. I love Dark Souls, so that's probably why I'm probably like a what is it, masochist? Yeah, I'm probably a masochist. It's like just frustrate the hell out of me.
Because not only will the enemy bullets kill you, but touching the enemy will kill you as well. Yeah. The environment will kill you. The enemies will kill you. The enemy shots will kill you.
Everything. is death. Everything is death. So.
And and in the Mega Man series, those spike balls at the end, at the bottom of certain pits, instant death.
That, and I can hear the noise till the yeah, like I love those games. So
it's like, I love the Mega Man X games. It's a little bit more, I'll say, mature. Yes. There's additional mechanics within there. I didn't even realize that they made how many of these?
8, I think. There was 8 in total that went up to X8. I think
something
it went up to X8. I did not play all of them, I'll be honest.
I played maybe up to 3. I think I might have played the third one as well. Yeah. So definitely 1 and 2. Yeah. Third one. And then lost track of them, but apparently there's 8.
I am pretty sure I have some of them, and some of them I didn't end up like really going through the whole thing. I'm pretty positive, but it was one of those things that like fell under my radar a little bit, and nostalgia holds true a little bit. So
this could like dip into another deeper conversation about nostalgia in games and releases and remasters. I think it's like I'm for and against them at the same time. Against them because I don't care personally, but for them because new generations of people coming up. Yeah. For instance, the remaster of Shadow of Colossus is coming out. It just a release date.
Really?
Actually, February 6th.
Ooh.
Yeah. Since I recently converted over to PlayStation, I never played it.
Oh.
So I completely
You're a recent convert?
I am a recent convert, yeah. I might have traded in 5 Halo Edition Xboxes recently.
I think I still have my old Xbox.
No, the Halo 3, Halo Reach, Halo 4, Halo 2, the OG Xbox.
Yeah. You want to know my level of dedication? I only got PlayStation. Well, I mean, that was all I could afford was like one console growing up. And I only got PlayStations because that was the only thing Final Fantasy was released on.
And yes.
So that was my level.
I would have converted a few years back because I thought Final Fantasy 15 was going to be a PlayStation exclusive. Yeah. That would have been my tipping point. But I converted earlier this year because Microsoft, the games that they were pushing for first party were Halo. And obviously, yes, I have all those Halo editions, but I played for the story. Yeah. And the story was secondary to the multiplayer with the MLG and all that. And the other exclusives like half of their E3 presentation is EA Sports.
Yeah,
I don't play sports games.
Exactly.
So like a half hour worth of their presentation is meaningless.
Yeah, exactly. No, I feel you on that.
I'm not a fan of Gear of Wars.
Yeah.
Or Gears of War, excuse me. Exactly.
Gear of Wars.
Yeah. So I don't care about that.
Yeah.
Scalebound got canceled.
Yeah.
I'm sure Cuphead is an amazing game and people who play it love it. I don't care.
Exactly.
That leaves with me like with nothing.
Yeah, when you have a console where it's like the majority of the genres you don't give a crap about them. So I got
a PlayStation earlier this year. First things I picked up, I played Last Guardian.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I'm working my way through The Last of Us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
yes.
and that's everyone's response.
Yes.
I played Infamous Second Son.
Okay.
So I just like getting all the PlayStation exclusives that I can.
Yeah.
And Shadow of Colossus is coming out, which seems to be in the same universe as The Last Guardian.
Yeah.
So awesome.
I wanna play The Last Guardian. That was one of the ones that like between
the feels at the end. Ooh, there are feels at the end.
You want to talk about feels? Talk about. I always say it wrong. Everybody has gone to the rapture.
Okay.
Everyone has gone to the rapture.
Everyone's gone to the rapture.
Or
okay.
Everybody has gone to the rapture.
We know the game.
That is. Get ready to get gut punched.
Oh, really?
Like gut punched. And I had like my not to say that dudes can't cry and stuff like that, but I had like my guy friends be like, be ready. Like I had a box of tissues like sitting down at the end of the game like bawling like they did, and I was like, oh Jesus. Like, why am I doing this to myself? But it was beautiful. It was a beautiful game.
I have a friend who refers to it as the ugly cries.
Yeah.
Is it the ugly cries?
It's the ugly cries.
Okay.
But it's like beautiful ugly cries.
Okay.
But it's the game itself is beautiful. It's a storytelling game.
Mm-hmm.
The soundtrack is amazing.
Okay.
So
to bring it back to the Mega Man series, I love the aspect or the concept of remasters for people who never got to play them.
Yes.
And again, we're old. So we
don't tell anyone, Jesus.
So I've already played what I care about. I don't have much time to go back and play certain old games. I will make the exceptions again for Last of Us and Shadow of Colossus because I never got to play those. Yeah. And they are remastered.
They're not even that old. Like Last of Us is not that old though.
No. Last of Us, no.
Yeah.
Shadow of Colossus came out PS2?
Yeah. So I mean like we should probably define what old means.
Mega Man X
is old. Yes.
So it's I personally don't care.
Yeah.
But if you're into this is going to be freaking awesome.
Yeah. I mean, and just the opportunity to be able to get into it if you want to is pretty cool.
And even though I've just got done bashing it saying how I don't care, I'm still debating whether or not I want to pick this up because they're amazing games.
They are good games.
They're straight up amazing games. There's a reason why so many of them were made.
Yeah.
And speaking of the core series, Mega Man 11, which looks like straight up a Mega Man game, is also coming out.
Yeah, I'm actually excited about that. I actually want to I'm terrible. I'm so excited about it, but my list just keeps growing of games that I need to play. Like we're sitting across the table and it's like pick out some games that you wanted to play in 2007. Mine's like a whole page. So.
Okay, so moving on, a whole bunch of trailers came out, and I had originally, when I first was starting to write up this the show notes, I only had Jurassic World on here.
I'm so glad you put the only thing that matters on there, which is the Avengers trailer.
So we have Jurassic World, Ready Player One, and yes, the Avengers Infinity War. It is a beautiful time to be a geek these days.
Oh my god. I'm super excited. Like, I am a Marvel girl. Like, okay. And I don't mean that, like, you know, I'm not trying to be like, I read comics, but like, no, legitimately, like, I read comics like most of my adult life, and you know, I always, aside from like indie stuff, like I've always preferred Marvel to DC. Okay. So if we're going big name, you know, most of the stuff I would read is some indie stuff, but like Marvel versus DC, I was always a Marvel person. Marvel. So this is like, this is like my top line, like, yes.
Well, it's crazy. So I guess we'll talk about Avengers for a bit.
We can talk about Jurassic World.
But like, what's amazing about the Avengers is this is like 10 years in the making. When did the first Iron Man come out?
At least, let's see. At least it was definitely earlier than 2009. Because I'm trying to remember who I saw it with in the movie theaters. It's at least a decade in the making.
Yeah.
At least.
So
at least.
10 years in the making. They've been having movies coming out.
And I mean, like, for me, like, I mean, obviously it can't go into the franchise because of, get it together, Fox. No, I'm kidding. But, like, even, like, the X-Men movies. So, like, that, that Marvel part of the universe, too. Or, so I've been about that life for a long time. I was really, like... Jean Grey is my homegirl, so I was like, when Marvel movies started to come out, I was like, yes, Yay! Dark Phoenix, yes, about it. So so I mean, for me at least, like I know they can't combine it yet, but all that stuff like coming through like has been over a decade in the making.
Okay, so Iron Man looks like a 2008 film.
Okay, so just about.
So by the time it comes out, yes, it'll be 10 years in the making.
Jeez.
And they've already said that they have like another 20-something films in the making.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
I knew,
because they're going to... I guess Infinity War is going to wrap up several storylines, but they've already started with Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, and Black Panther will be coming.
Yeah.
So I guess that's going to start another major arc.
Yeah, because there are some people who only are contracted for like another like 2 movies or so. So we'll see.
Yeah,
how
but I've read that there's going to be more Marvel coming out, and it's going to be like they started the Doctor Strange
empire. It's an empire, a movie empire.
It's like amazing.
Yeah. So
and I'm just so happy, and I guess it started for me with the Christian Bale Batman trilogy.
Okay.
That they stopped being so damn campy.
Yes. I think when they realized there was a real market for good comic book movies, then that was a game changer. It was a complete, like, they're like, oh, wait. So, because it was like, this tiny little market of nerds, but then somehow managing to expand it so that the general populace wanted to get in on it. Like, I feel like geek culture is cool now.
Oh, it's beyond cool now.
Yeah, so it's like, and I think part of that, it was like reaching out through the movies to kind of like...
I think it was maybe the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like, getting like to like the start of the turning point, and I think it might have come... From my observation perspective, I think it probably started with the Spider-Man movies and then came like full swing with the Christian Bale Batman.
Yeah, definitely like the darker, like more adult-oriented comic movies I think made a big, big difference. Like, once they realized that Deadpool would fly as a rated R movie, like that was, I was like, thank God.
That must have been just like, all right, let's see what... It sounds crazy. I know it's a comic book movie. I know, but let's just see what happens.
Hear me out. Because that also, to me, gives studios more of an ability to look at things that they might not have touched otherwise. Like now, I mean, even on TV, like there's Preacher now.
I actually just picked up the first volume of that.
Oh, really? Yeah. God, it's so good. It is so good. You're going to be so excited. Okay. But like other things that, we're like, oh, this is going to be HBO only. Maybe we'll see some of that stuff eventually in the theaters instead. Like I'm a fan of a lot of that kind of like stuff that's like, how are you going to do that without like it being real rated R?
Well, I mentioned Netflix every episode apparently with all their Oh, seriously, like I've tried pulling polls. Like I need to like name a Netflix segment on this show.
So you just get some kind of affiliate thing. Yeah, right? Like, hey Netflix.
Hey Netflix.
By the way,
so I recently, within the past month or two, finished the Punisher season.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Well, it's the Punisher. So
yeah, exactly. Like my biggest thing, I think my favorite one so far was Luke Cage. That was one of my favorite ones. I really enjoyed that one. So
yeah, Luke Cage. That was.
I'm like, yes, more. Give me more.
He's getting more, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Side note that we'll talk about some of these other trailers. I did see that Punisher was greenlighted for a second season, and in the teaser, it actually had the Netflix logo in the teaser.
Huh. Interesting.
Which is very interesting, given how Disney's scooping up everyone and everything.
Yeah.
And I heard that there wasn't going to be any new Marvel series on Netflix, but
there was not?
There was not.
Really?
No new ones. So that's where, like, how is this all going to be playing out?
Interesting.
Right, because Disney now owns Marvel.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're going to be creating their own streaming service because people will pay.
Yeah.
And
I mean, Disney's owned Marvel for a while, though, so I mean...
But since they're going to be making their own streaming service.
Yeah.
But it did have the Netflix logo on the teaser. So...
Maybe some kind of weird collab? I don't even know how that would work.
The only thing I can think of right now, and we are not industry experts, is that maybe because it's an existing property on Netflix, it will continue there.
Maybe.
That's the only thing I can think of.
Don't ruin this, Disney.
Please.
Don't ruin it.
So Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, that looks amazing, and I would just like to say that Jurassic World is the Jurassic 2 that we all deserved. And what's beautiful is when Jurassic World came out, they made so many Easter eggs and references and little things hidden here and there that all related to Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Not Jurassic Park 2.
Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park.
Period. Full stop.
I'm like, wow, they're like not even acknowledging 2 and 3. Like
they're like the bastard children. We don't even need to talk about them. They're in the basement.
So it's
they're under the stairs.
So I just think it's amazing. They're like, wow, they're not even pretending. They're just completely not even acknowledging 2 and 3. And we're continuing after 1.
Is it sad that part of me is like I'm like, oh, Jurassic World, like cool. Jeff Goldblum though.
Yeah.
I love him.
Did you see him in Thor Ragnarok?
I'm gonna lose street cred.
More street cred's being lost.
I know. I actually am probably gonna, if it's still in theaters, I'm gonna see Thor this weekend. We just had something come up that week.
He is the most Jeff Bloom has ever been.
Oh, I love it. I'm all about it. I'm all about it.
That's the best way I can describe him.
That's like, you know what? I feel like that's perfect because I love him in like every Portlandia skit he does because I feel like it's his most genuine self, and I'm just like, give it to me. I love it.
Weird.
He's a weird dude. Like, I don't know if I'd want to hang out with him in a room by myself, but from a distance across the screen,
maybe in a group setting.
Yeah.
Just so it's not one-on-one. I want to see what happens.
I just feel like I would be that person, and I'd be like, this is so awkward. Like, I can't even handle the awkward. I gotta go. But I love it. I love it. It's okay.
And the last one is Ready Player One.
I had not heard about this movie.
Okay.
Before this. And I don't know how I missed out on this. I don't know how I slept on this one. You need to just awesome. Leave. I'm sorry. Okay. The dogs are like, wait, where are you going?
Where are you going? Yeah, speaking of the dogs, they're finally both laying down now. Jeez.
But they were like, wait, where's that lady going?
So Ready Player One.
I want to see this. This looks great. Visually, I think like the trope is a little played, but it still looks really cool.
So this is a book.
Okay.
So it is a book, and it is also available on audible.com, and it was one of the featured books in one of the previous shows. Which, if you go to audibletrial.com/VGXTpod, you can download your free version of that book.
Plug. Plugging some stuff into some outlets, guys.
It is everything. Like, if you are sleeping on this as well, and you have not seen any of the trailers, it is everything, and that's like the best way to describe it.
I'm really hyped on it, honestly. After watching the trailer, I was like, what? That's how I was like, how did I not know that this was a thing? How did I not know that that was coming out? Okay. To be fair, I have been in like master's degree coma for part of the year. Right. So to be fair, give me a little bit of credit.
So addicted to the Final Fantasy 14 MMO. Master's degree action going on.
Addicted? I don't know. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally addicted.
Yeah, totally addicted. And her boyfriend works weird hours.
We got weird lives.
Yeah, there is nothing normal about the working time frame. No. So all over the place. But this movie is basically it's a dystopian future. People spend more time in a virtual world than the regular world. And apparently he gets recruited to save the world. Or get control of
the online universe.
Like and It has every video, even some modern video game Easter eggs are found in the trailer.
Oh yeah, I saw there was Overwatch. I'm pretty sure I saw I saw a Battletoad. I'm almost positive I saw a Battletoad. I actually was like clicking and stopping and clicking and stopping. Like wait. Yeah, and
Zits, rash, and pimple.
Yes. So there's definitely like there's a whole bunch of like homages to like different things in there.
It is just a non-stop homage to every
Street Fighter. I saw Street Fighter.
At least one DeLorean.
At least one DeLorean. Chucky. I saw Chucky in there. You? Yeah, Chucky was definitely in there, like stabbing someone.
Because that's what Chucky does.
Yeah, exactly. There was a lot of like Easter eggs to a lot of stuff.
There are shots where it's like every video game cartoon car is in this massive chase scene.
Yeah, like I was trying to figure out in the background if there was some Star Wars stuff, and I was like, I don't know.
The only reason why there wouldn't be,
I know,
is because of licensing.
Exactly.
Like if something is,
but I'm
not
like, this is very Battlefront-esque. I was like,
Yeah. So like, if there was something that is missing in this, it's because they couldn't get licensing.
Exactly.
That is the only reason. They are reaching deep cuts. These are deep cuts into certain gaming cultures. Like, video games that will frustrate you. Battletoads.
Yes.
If you want to... What was it? Some people didn't realize that there's beyond a level 2. Was that the one?
It doesn't surprise me.
You should know there's more than 2 levels to Battletoads.
That's how I felt about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the regular Nintendo. I was like, I can't get past the sewers. Damn it. Yeah, no, this movie looks really good. It's do you watch anime at all?
Some.
So, I got a weird like Sword Art Online vibe from some of it, and I was like, but it still looks pretty good. I'm I was like, I'm into it. I'm still gonna check it out. So
absolutely. Oh man. Okay, so last bit of gaming and geekery. Everyone does their best of the year. Now that we're in December, it's like best of 2017. Woo!
I'm glad I get to be a part of any kind of listing thing.
Yeah, but you've had crazy master's degree stuff going on.
Yes,
I have a tiny human running around the house. Although he's not running yet, he's able to like prop himself by the coffee table and kind of like one hand on it and kind of
do the wobbles.
Yeah, scooting around it. He's got another like pusher truck thing that he can walk around like a champ on. He can't turn, so he just goes in a straight line.
He's just like a little drunk human. Right. It's a little drunk human. That's what babies are like.
Babies are really a little drunk human. So I haven't played as many as I wanted. So rather than doing a top of 2017, these are a few games that came out in 2017 that I haven't played yet.
I think this is a brilliant list.
But I cannot take credit for it. I did get this from another Twitter feed. So I am not...
No, I'm kidding.
I am not original, but I like the idea and I'm totally doing it.
I am not original, but this is cool.
So we'll just go back and forth a couple of times. First one on my list is Assassin's Creed Origins. Because I've played every major Assassin's Creed game except for Rogue.
Don't hate me. I'm not an Assassin's Creed person.
Hey.
It's okay. I mean, I've played it a little bit, but it was never like my thing that was like, yeah, I need that.
I've loved everything about Assassin's Creed, but as the series progressed, it became less about the stealth, and they had too many... And this is like so many additional podcasts or like roundtable discussions can be spawned from this. When you have too many story arcs going at the same time, it just becomes a cluster.
Yeah.
And I feel that's what's happening with Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
So I've skipped AC Origins, but everything that's come out...
It's on the list, though.
Has been absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So...
so it's hard. I have
a few.
I've got a bunch. So, Fractured Behold was one of the ones that had fallen under my radar, and then I'm playing right now. Okay. So I feel like that kind of sort of not really counts, doesn't count.
Okay, so we're getting to it. So
we're getting to it. I noticed that we had a similar game on the list.
Well, that was mine, so pick a different one.
Oh, God. All right. One of the things I was hyped the most from E3 was Evil Within 2. That trailer looks insane. I love horror video games. I love like Silent Hill I'm all about that. Like, I love that. Like when PT came out and then and then it didn't I was like legitimately like, it was like I had like a boyfriend break up with me. I was like, oh, but I know we could have had so many good times. I was legitimately sad. So Evil Within, I saw that trailer and I just got goosebumps. I was like, yes, I have to play this game. So that's on the very top of the list as like next to play. So
all right, so the next one is the one that we both have on our list, and that is, for me, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice.
Oh my god, it looks beautiful.
There is a trailer with just, like, feedback from the community overlaid on top of pictures that the community took with their photo mode, and everything's beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they got to handpick from I don't know how many.
Yeah.
So they got some really nice shots, but even still, they're beautiful shots.
Looks so good. Like, that was another one that I was blown away by, just like visually, just gorgeous.
And the story itself is supposed to be phenomenal as well. So it's just like inside and out, top to bottom, all the way through. This is just a gorgeous, beautifully well-crafted game.
And it's got a little bit of the horror. It's got the horror leaning.
It does have a little bit of the horror leaning.
Yeah.
And I've heard it delves into a lot of mental health issues.
Really?
It's supposed to deal with like what it's like to live with certain issues. I don't know enough about it.
Yeah.
Either about the game or what mental health issues it's supposed to be addressing, but there's a lot of like whispers that happen.
Oh wow.
So
that makes me want to play it more.
Yeah. So like you see visions and you hear whispers. Like definitely play with a headset.
I was about to say get your gold headsets out.
Yeah. Get the headsets out. And just like the stress of, I assume the main character is Senua. Like what's going on?
I don't know. Oh, that makes me excited and worried, because when I get stressed out at video games, like what was it? Disturbed, the one with the camera, where all you have is the camera.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about.
I'm pretty sure. Oh shoot. I think it's Disturbed. I can't remember the name of it. I can see it. It's like green.
It's not Evil Within.
No, it's got a green thing. Literally, okay, so I played that real quick off tangent. I was playing that game and it scared me so bad that I went and like leapt across part of the couch and threw my controller into the Christmas tree. Like legitimately. I was like, all right, maybe this is not the game for me. Okay. So I'm if it's like anxiety inducing enough to like have me, like, maybe it doesn't jump scare at all, but like I am the target audience for reaction videos for that, for people to be like, that girl, man, I don't know what she's doing. So, but I'm still excited. I'm very excited to
Outlast.
That's it. I'm
by
like,
the power of Google.
Disturbed. It's banned. Like, what am I?
No, it's not Disturbed.
Like the bodies in the No, I don't know. Oh my goodness.
And that was Drowning Pool.
Oh my Jesus! What is wrong with me? Oh, I'm losing all my scene points now.
All right. So what else? One more from your list.
Okay, so let's see. I'm actually really excited about Little Nightmares. Have you heard of that game? So Little Nightmares looks really, really interesting and beautiful. It gives me the puzzle solving vibe of like Limbo. And it's like a horror puzzle solving game from what I've gathered from it. Cause, you know, it's is it a side crawler? It might be. But it's really cool looking, and it's not even like claymation. I don't know how to describe it, but it's very I love puzzle games too. Okay. So like the mix of like horror and puzzle, I'm like, ooh, this looks nice. Like it looks very interesting, and you're like, if I remember correctly, you're a little girl trying to find something. I don't remember what, because it was a while ago that I saw the trailer, but I remember just being struck enough to be like, that's going on the list. Okay. Absolutely. That's like, I bought it and then just was like, it's sitting there waiting to be played kind of thing. So yeah, I'm looking forwards to that as well, like getting to that. And that might be one of those games where it's like, I think as an RPG player, you're like, man, every game is going to be like 200 hours long. And then you get something like, like Fractured But Whole or something where it's like, yeah, you could spend that much time, but you don't have to. Like, you're like, oh, I only spent 20 hours. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, only.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like a palate cleanser to me.
Yeah, right. And I think Hellblade is only supposed to be like 8 or 9.
Yeah, that's a short game to me. Like,
right, that's an incredibly short game.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that's a nice little refresher, a little break. That's fine. Yeah, right? You know, it's like I have a warped sense of time for video games.
When you play fantasy games, like I played. Okay, so I refer to it as Final Fantasy 3. Yes, I know it's 6 in the entire series. I'm old and I'm American, all right? It's 3. So, like, I played through that game several times.
Yeah.
I've played all the Elder Scrolls games and Fallout games where you can, and I've played through them multiple times as well.
Yeah.
It's several hundred hours yeah. I did not play The Witcher 3 because I just got done with Dragon Age Inquisition.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I need to go back, and I'll go back to Destiny. Destiny's my palate cleanser.
Yeah.
I'm just going to shoot aliens in the head and, have fun and run 20-minute missions, and it'll be great. So that's kind of like, I think we're both kind of like at that same level where sometimes I just want something shorter.
Yeah.
Not everything needs to be 200 hours.
Yeah. Like I definitely in the amount of time I've played RPGs, like, oh God, I could have conquered the world, but like it's just it's sick. Like I was playing Final Fantasy 14 because I've been playing almost since their relaunch.
Okay.
I started playing like a little while after their relaunch. A Realm Reborn came out, and my friend was like, "You're a huge Ghibli fan. I bet you'd love Ni no Kuni or Ni no Kuni." And I was like, "Oh, probably." And I started playing it, and it's amazing, and it's cute, and it's wonderful. And I'm like, I can't have 2 RPGs in my life. I was like, I can't do it. Mm-hmm. Like I physically do not have the time. And I was still in school then too, so I was like,
just no,
it's not gonna happen.
Right.
That's on like the long term list. those games are on the long term list of just being like, I mean, for heaven's sake, I haven't finished Final Fantasy 15 yet. That says something. That says something. I'm like a good way through it, but like
I finished Final Fantasy 15, loved it, but it's on my Xbox.
I don't know how to not be a completionist. That's
right?
That's the hard thing for me too. So any RPG that I play, I'm one of those people that's like, find every optional boss, kill it. Find every like ultimate weapon. Fine,
I found the 200 eggs, okay?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm terrible like that. And so it's learning now to just step back and be like, you can enjoy the story and not have to get every single thing. And it's a hard process. It's first world problems, but it's a hard process. I mean, that's the way I like to play my games. So I'm trying to get over that.
So Little Nightmares?
Little Nightmares. I would recommend Little Nightmares. Go watch the trailer. It's really cool looking. If you like puzzle games, if you like things like Limbo, it's definitely be up your alley for sure. So.
Okay, so we're gonna move into the final section of this. But first,
Final Jeopardy.
Kind of, sorta. So, we do have some questions from the internet. So the first 2 come from Twitter. And first one is from Judge Greg at Judge Greg is Law. Suggestions for sugar-free, sweetener-free beverages. And my knee-jerk reaction was water.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'd be like, water? Is this a trick question? I don't know. Sugar-free, sweetener-free beverages. Honestly, what I think of is like tea. I think of like, basic tea and stuff, but I mean, it depends on if you want caffeine or not. I mean, there's non-caffeinated teas, but I mean, I don't know. Water.
We do have a follow-up response to that, actually, from Winter Wonderwez from Wonderwez Gaming. She also says water and LaCroix.
Seltzer, yeah.
Yeah, and she follows it up with, but seriously, combining a jug of water with fruit such as strawberries, lime slices, or mint leaves, cucumber slices, etc., is a great way to mix up your hydration. I like it better than sparkling water.
I agree with that, but it depends on what that person was actually looking for initially, because while sugar in fruit is not bad for you, it is still sugar. So if they're really like being like real like, no, I can't have it, I don't know why, but you know, that would still be...
Well, it's one of those things where, well, it's fruit. Fruit is healthy for me.
Yeah, exactly.
The reason why fruit is delicious is because it has sugar.
Yes.
And good source of sugar, bad source of sugar, it is still sugar.
Put the berries in your fruit and then eat the berries after you've drank the water. How about that? That's delicious.
Okay.
Get your fiber. Everything's great. You'll be fine. Everybody needs fiber.
Second question from Osbones83 at CS Osborne83. What is the most common dietary misconception that you have heard?
Oh, Lord. Oh, there's so many. Probably that carbs are bad. Carbs, there is a weird connotation in our world right now that like all carbs are bad, certain carbs are bad. I mean, refined stuff is not great for us, but you know, it all is in a context. Like everything has a context. No one person is identical to another person.
That's very important to keep in mind.
That is the most important thing. So, you know, are there people who can't have certain things? Yes. But overall, that's probably the biggest misconception I hear, is that just like carbs are inherently evil. And it's like, carbs is a very, very broad term that means a ton of different things. So talk to your dietitian. If you got questions about carbs for you, find a dietitian, talk to your dietitian. They can help you out with that kind of stuff, because it's not necessarily true. And we don't need to just be hating on carbs for no reason. What did carb ever do to you? That's all I'm saying.
Fill my belly. Carbs are delicious.
I mean, so yeah, that's probably the biggest one, is just that, you know, this just belief that carbs are inherently bad, and that's not necessarily the case for everyone.
Okay. And over on Facebook, Aaron Sturdivant, a buddy of mine who helps out at the cons, he's got his own thing, horror with Sturdy, so go check that out on Facebook. And hashtag AskVGXT. Are protein shakes good for a meal replacement?
Oh, I don't think that, I mean, meal replacements can have their place, but nothing is better than real food. I mean, at the end of the day, nothing is better than real food. And when I say real food, like, you know, if you're looking for protein, whether it be a vegetarian source of protein, or meat-based source of protein, egg-based source of protein, depending on what your lifestyle is, what your needs are, real food is best. That being said, also, depending on the protein shake, there's not regulation as to what, like, supplements aren't regulated by the FDA. So depending on what that is, that might not have what you think it has in it, some of it. So you kind of have to be careful with what you're getting and where you're getting it from. So I would just say, he was saying, the question was, is it good for a meal replacement?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in a real bind, you know, it might not be the worst thing in the world. I just really wouldn't suggest it as like a long-term solution for anything.
Yeah. Like,
you know, there's shakes and stuff like there's meal replacement shakes that are meant to be meal replacements, like Ensure and stuff like that, you know, and those, you know, are used for certain populations and they're appropriate for them. They're also very calorically dense. That means they have a lot of calories in them for a small amount of food. They're meant to be that way because they are meant to supplement for people who are sick or have some other, you know, issue going on. Those are not necessarily bad. They're also not necessarily a long-term solution for someone who doesn't need it. So, you know, these are the type of things that need to just be, you know, fleshed out with the individual.
Yeah. I never got into the protein shakes. I just kind of adjusted my diet when I was working out hard. But I do know that people who are into the protein shakes, there's all sorts of options available.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We could do a whole podcast on that, honestly, because, you know, branched chain amino acids and, you know, like all kinds of things like that. Like,
where are the proteins actually coming from?
Yeah, bioavailability, all kinds of stuff like that. So it's,
So bioavailability.
Oh, is that an SAT
That's
word?
an SAT word.
So bioavailability, back it up. So bioavailability is pretty much how well does your body utilize what you're putting in it. Okay. So, is it able to absorb, as much as it's how much are you getting out of it?
Okay.
So,
so just because you're consuming something doesn't mean that your body's necessarily
utilizing
it.
Yeah, okay. Utilizing it as properly, things like that.
So that would that come into the whole balanced diet?
Yeah.
Thing?
Yeah.
That concept,
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Like, I mean, some things are utilized by the body better than other things. So, like certain types of vitamins are utilized better than other types. Like, you'll see, like, some things that are like, you'll be like, oh, this one vitamin D is super cheap at the store. Cool. I'm going to get that one, where that one's not utilized as well as the other type of vitamin D. So, like, there's things like that, different forms of calcium, things like that your body uses differently or better. So
and would dehydration prevent a lot of proper absorption?
Dehydration can have a whole myriad of things in the body. Stay hydrated, people. Let's just bottom line, stay hydrated. Everything is happier when you're hydrated, unless you have a medical condition where you can't do that. Then, but you would probably know about that.
Because there's exceptions with everything.
Yes, exactly.
Anytime there's like an overarching trend or general rule, so it should be understood that there's exceptions to those.
There's absolutely, like, nutrition and food are insanely personal. They're individual basis, like, certain recommendations, that are made by government agencies and things like that are like an overarching general recommendation are for the general populace. Right. Anything that's like fad and stuff like that, like, if those things actually worked, we would all be super fit, we'd all be super happy, and we'd all, like, have these fantasy lives that are fantastic, and there would also not be $1 billion industry around food fads. So this is why we have experts to tell you, to try and steer you in the right way of what's right for you, because that might not be right for the next person.
All right, and as you might have noticed, I took my note sheet and brought it closer to me.
I see this. I'm getting a little nervous. I was like, what super serial secrets do you have?
So, time for the final 5 questions.
Oh, dun dun dun.
And these are the final 5 questions to wrap up the podcast.
Okay.
They range from irrelevant to irreverent. The first 2 are always the same. The last 3 have a theme.
Okay.
So, here we go.
All right.
First question. Coffee or tea?
Oh, like, I am like the Wu-Tang of coffee. Coffee rules everything around me. Like, cream, get that caffeine. I like tea. Wow. Don't get me wrong. But no, I'm a coffee woman.
Everything around me.
Yes.
Tea.
Yes.
Or cream.
Yes.
Grab the sugar, stir it up in the cup.
Yes.
Wow, I'm embarrassed I just made that up. So definitely coffee.
Coffee, yeah.
Okay.
100%.
Now, again, the first 2 questions are always the same. And I've realized that we are personal friends and we've been over to each other's houses. However, first 2 questions are always the same. We know you play video games. Do you play any tabletop games?
Yes. Yes. And I know that you're saying this because there's a whole bookshelf of tabletop games in my living room.
And we're not talking about, like, the bookshelf that comes up, like, 3 or 4 feet. We're talking...
the one that goes to the ceiling.
No, the ceiling.
And it happens to have, like, Nintendo figurines on the top of it. Whatever. It's cool.
Whatever.
It's fine. Yes, I do. I play, tabletop games and, card-based games like Magic the Gathering. One of my favorite tabletop games is actually, which a lot of people don't know exists, 2-player Settlers of Catan.
I have seen this.
I have the original.
Ooh.
Like, I had a friend who was German, and he was like, they finally made this in English. You would love this. Let's play this. And I was like, all right, cool. It's actually, you should come over and play it sometime. It's really cool.
Okay.
And I have the expansion sets for it. So
because of course. It's because it's Settlers, so it has like 800 expansions to it.
Well, luckily the expansions all came it's like 5 expansions in one box.
So you got like the super box.
Yeah, it's like, but this was like forever ago, so they were the only expansions that were made at the time.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know anything beyond that. I've only played the 8 player one like a couple times because I like my jam is just Settlers 2-player. That's my go-to winter game. Okay. When I'm snowed in.
Cool. All right, next 3.
Oh no.
Oh boy. All right, so antibiotics or probiotics?
What the hell kind of question is this? Both have their place and are very important. You should take probiotics after antibiotics. At least 2 hours separate from each other because you want to make sure that...
Okay, explain on that because I was not expecting that answer.
Okay, well, because antibiotics kill bacteria. They kill all bacteria. They are indiscriminate. So they're killing what's making you sick, and your gut is filled with good bacteria. Your intestines are filled with good things for you. That antibiotic will kill those as well. Okay. So you want to take probiotics to try and help, repopulate, keep it strong. Also, it allows certain overgrowth of bad bacteria that are just inherent in your gut. So that's how like people end up with yeast infections and stuff after antibiotics. That's why we tell you like eat yogurt, stuff like that. It's got probiotics in it. So, but you want to take it like a couple hours apart, either before or after, because if you're taking them at the same time, the antibiotics are just going to kill it off.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So.
All right.
Both.
Excellent.
Bam. I saw you. You're trying to catch me on that one. You're like, antibiotic.
Well, I wish I could find the meme again, but it was just a picture of, they were like holding protest signs, and one was a pill bottle, and the other one was a yogurt cup. And the pill bottle said antibiotics, and the yogurt cup said probiotics.
I mean, they're both very important, so, yeah.
Just the fact that they were like mean mugging each other.
That's
holding
great.
The protest signs.
That's great. That's funny.
All right, 4th question. Let's bring back a medical practice from the good old days. Leeches or tapeworms?
Oh,
but I think leeches are actually
gross. Leeches are so gross too, though. Okay, I just don't even want to. Oh no! Actually, there are some studies that have talked about tapeworms and allergy relief.
Really?
Yes.
That's bizarre, and I'm hesitant.
Yeah, oh god, I've seen. You know how like you got like Vietnam vets who are like, I've seen some stuff. You know, like I've worked in areas where I've seen some stuff, and still tapeworms. I'm like, what? Like, oh god. I don't want anything to do with either of them. Both of them freak me out. Like, bad. Like, I've never had a leech on me. I think I would just run screaming. Like, someone would have to tackle me down to get it off of me because I'm that type of person. I'd be like, ah! But, yeah, there are some studies. I'll see if I can get you some links to that of allergies and tapeworms and things like that. And then... we're talking good old days. Actually, it's really funny. I just went on vacation to Salem.
Here we go.
Well, I went to. Oh no! What, did something bad happen?
No. Go.
So
story time. Here we go.
Well, I went to Salem on vacation for the first time recently, and there's this whole there's a house there where you can take a tour, and it's like, oh, all this crazy stuff from back in the witch trial days, and there's a whole section. I was so surprised about medical practices and cannibalism and like leeches and stuff like this, and like eating the brains of a hanged man because he was hanged is like really good for like getting rid of like consumption or some BS like that. Like I took pictures of it. I will send it to you. It's crazy. I was like, what?
So this is audio only. I am making the most amazing faces right now.
I'm just imparting the crazy knowledge at this point. So it's like, yeah, I would like. Wow. That was one of the cooler things that happened.
People believe this.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like, yeah, there was something about like the humors of, you know, like having that kind of fear in you when, like, from the hanging, like that was it made it like medicinally more potent.
Again, the faces that are going on right now.
Yeah,
like no one else will be able to see.
And that was the faces that I was making when I got the leeches question. So just to be fair.
All right, so we're just gonna go real old school. What? And all right, moving on. So, last question number 5. What is your favorite snack while gaming?
My favorite snack while gaming.
What you got a bowl of next to you as you're doing your marathon sessions?
Let's see. This I'd have to think about for a hot minute because it switches up sometimes. Honestly, this is going to make me sound like a head dietitian. I like a good beer. I like a good beer if I'm video gaming. Definitely, I would have to say, like, if we're kicking it old school, pizza.
Oh, boy.
Although I will say I was vegan for a long time, so vegan pizza for a while. But, yeah, pizza's just where it's at. Like, pizza and video games, like, that's just, like, I feel like that's just a match, like, made in heaven. Like, you just...
It is pretty glorious.
Like, you order the pizza, it gets delivered to you, you just eat the pizza, try not to get too much grease on your hands, because then you can't freaking do anything on your controller. But yeah, no, I pizza, sometimes chocolate. It depends on what I'm doing and during the day. Actually, I have a bad morning routine where I love to have a big cup of coffee and then just do a couple things in game to get my brain working for the morning and then start my day. That's legitimately what I do almost every morning because it gets me in the mode of like I have to think, I have to process, I have to do.
Okay.
There we go. So
I actually like, and this has less to do with the healthiness of it all, but trail mix.
Ooh, yeah.
Because it's not greasy.
That's the popcorn. I love popcorn, and popcorn can be like depending on how you make it, can be kind of greasy. Like if you're doing the bag popcorn that has butter on it, and as a dietitian, I should tell you to just sparingly. But
the powdered butter that like, obviously is real butter.
It's just like then next thing you know, there are like napkins everywhere on your pants, or if you're a heathen, you're wiping it on your pants. This is a bad scene. But yeah, any trail mixes.
I like the trail mix because you get a little salty, but you can grab like a fistful of it and just cram it in your pie hole.
See, that's it.
Pro tip right here. Mute your mic if you're eating while gaming.
Yes.
I recently had a gaming session. Some guys brought me through the Leviathan raid on Destiny. Thank you so much. But for love of God, Paul, mute your mic.
Yeah. No, that's I've had many a faux pas on Discord because of lack of mic muting. Actually, everyone thought that my boyfriend was a cat named Dave for a little while. That's a long story. We won't need to get into it, but it was pretty much because I was talking to my cat and I was like, "What are you doing? He's so cute." And they were like, "Who are you talking to?" And I'm like, "My cat," and I thought I was muted. Oh, wow. Okay, cool. But yeah, don't chew in your mic, people. Like, don't do it.
Just mute it real quick.
Don't do it.
It's fine. Just come back once you finish whatever you're munching on.
Everyone appreciates you not chewing into your mic. It's real loud. Don't do it. It's distracting. Your static will hate you.
Yeah. And that is all the time we have for this episode. Time for end of show plugs. You can follow me, Anthony Rossi, on Twitter, Instagram, and PSN at Hypersyntax, HYP3RSINT4X, or you can follow the podcast directly either on Twitter at VGXTPod or on Facebook at Facebook.com/Videogame Crosstalk. I've got a few blogs up there at VideogameCrosstalk.com. I hope to have another one by the time this episode comes out. We'll see what happens. It's the holidays and it's busy, but that's the way it is. But I do have the official.com is videogamecrosstalk.com, and that's for my guest, Jess. Do you do much on the social medias?
I'm not really on the blogosphere too much. I am still working on getting my dietitian stuff up on the interwebs, but I will say if you play Final Fantasy XIV and you happen to be on the Genova server, come find Thiefalai Toluta and say hi. I'm real nice. And also, quick thing.
Ooh.
I represented my server and my free company and recently beat the Trials of Bahamut in New York City. We never talked about that.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. I'll see if I can get you guys a picture of that. There was only, I think, 40% of players worldwide that actually beat it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a puzzle room thing. Pretty awesome. So, but yeah, if you're on Genova, Final Fantasy XIV, find me. I'm also Jess Mononoke on PS4. Feel free to come find me.
All right.
I will kick butt in Dark Souls with you if you want.
Cool. And in the words of Charles Dudley Warner, the excellence of a gift lies in its appropriateness rather than its value.
Don't be inappropriate. Just kidding. Bye, guys.